It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the East Carolina Pirates assistant women's soccer coach, Emily Buchanan. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get into college coaching?
Sure. So I've played soccer growing up all my life, through the youth level to collegiately, and I was fortunate to have pretty strong female role models in coaching roles that I was able to play under and grow from and learn from. So I think it wasn't really until college when I was like, I see this kind of experience that they're able to provide me and the insight that they're able to give me in my life. And that goes far beyond soccer, just life in general. And I want to be able to be in a position where I can provide that to others. When I graduated college, I don't think I was dead set right then on coaching collegiately. I knew coaching is something I wanted to continue doing. So I coached at the youth level, I coached at the high school level for a couple of years. And I think through that, I realized like my true passion was with soccer. And that was kind of the career path I wanted to pursue. And at that point, my college coach had reached out and had an opening on his staff. And that's kind of how I got into the world of college coaching.
What was it like, obviously, going through college playing soccer and then obviously after you graduated, coming back to your alma mater?
Yeah. So I was able to, play college soccer, which was an amazing experience. And I think being able to not only play for and coach with the same person kind of helped provide that family like feel that any team really wants. At the end of the day, your team is a family. And so it was a pretty easy transition to play for the same coach that I coached with.
What was the transition like for you from going from being a player to obviously playing with your teammates to now coaching some of your teammates that you played with?
So it's definitely a different transition. I in my senior year of college, I got injured and I wasn't able to fulfill my career the way that I wanted to. So I think at that point in my career, um, although I was still a player and a teammate, my focus was shifted to more of a captain and a leader, not necessarily a coach specifically, but not being able to physically be on the field with my teammates, your focus shifts a little bit in that role. So it was a bit of an easier transition than probably most, despite the circumstances.
Of course, after you coached at your alma mater, what was it like going to Stetson to be an assistant coach?
So the the school that I went to school at, and then Stetson University, they're very similar in a lot of ways. Smaller Division I liberal arts schools, and again, like a very family like feel. That was a comfortable situation for me. That was an environment where I feel like I can make an impact both as a player, as a student athlete, and then as a coach. So it was a fairly easy transition, honestly.
What was it like, obviously, getting the job as the assistant coach for Stefan, coming out of obviously coaching at your alma mater?
It was kind of out of my comfort zone, honestly. The only thing that was a constant was something that I was familiar with was the person that I had played for and now going to be coaching with. Everything else was unfamiliar territory. So outside of the game itself, soccer's kind of been that constant my whole life. So um, just sticking with what I'm comfortable with, what I know, and kind of moving into this role of being able to continue to impact young women through the game of soccer.
What were some of your accomplishments at Stetson?
So when we got there, they hadn't had a ton of on the field success as far as consistent success. There was, within the conference itself, we were able to compete at a very high level within the conference. And not only that, but we had players that were able to gain really high individual success. I worked with the attacking players primarily when I was there, and we had a player through her 4-year period of playing for us. She's now the leading goal scorer at Stetson, and she was able to set a lot of offensive records. So it's really nice to see players that are able to accomplish things that they wanted to achieve, but that also help their team success.
What was it like getting the role at ECU as assistant women's soccer coach?
So ECU is a very different environment than what I was in at Stetson as far as the overall college feel. This is a large public university, and Stetson was the opposite. And I feel very fortunate to have had experience in both of those environments. It's definitely grown me as a person, as a coach. The conference that we compete in here, the American Athletic Conference, it's a very high level. We're consistently playing against nationally ranked opponents, and that challenges us every single day when it comes to the actual soccer aspect of what we do. So I've really enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed the competitive level of the conference we play in here. And, anytime you work with different people and coach with different people, you have different conversations about tactics and the game, and it just continues to expand your knowledge.
In your first year in 2018, obviously with ECU, what was it like going to the conference championship semifinals?
I think that year for us was a very interesting year. It was our first season here, and we brought in a bunch of transfers, players who were just eager for a second chance. And we had a lot of, you mix that with the current players who people don't really believe in them because of the lack of success they had before. And so they had a chip on their shoulder, and we really rode that. And that helped propel us more than anything. Like, we just wanted to prove people wrong. We had a group of kids that were very hardworking, and we were able to upset some people and surprise some people. So it was a very good feeling, and it was rewarding for the players to see that, hey, we can do this.
What was it like in that season, obviously seeing the success that y'all had in your first year?
Yeah, so we, every season you go through ups and downs, and that's why you have multiple players, you have a full roster. We had a lot of injuries coming off of that season, and you don't ever prepare for that because you don't want to plan for injuries. But it's good to see other players stepping up in those moments, and that's part of the recruiting process too. That's why you recruit more players. That's why you bring in more players. So the transition from year to year is to maintain the success that you're seeing, but to also build on it.
What are some of your coaches' accomplishments with ECU?
So we have consistently helped the team finish higher than they had before. In this conference, we've been able to reach the highest finish that we've ever finished in this conference. And this season's still going on. We hope to finish higher and make that better again this year. But again, there's been some players that have received individual awards that obviously help add to the team's success. And particularly this year, we've got a few freshmen that are being very impactful, and that's great to see. You don't want to ever, kind of say our on the field success is the only thing that matters, because it's not. There's a much bigger picture here when it comes to the world of college athletics, but that's kind of the forefront of your program. So individual awards, overall team success on the field is incredibly important and something to be proud of. But I think in general, just the kind of the way that the culture of this team has shifted in our time here is something that we're very proud of. And not just the culture, but the academic success. Our team is consistently setting higher standards for themselves every year when it comes to team GPA and academic things that they're consistently achieving.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you have helped build for the women's soccer program at ECU?
Yeah, that's something that we put a lot of emphasis on. And I think anytime there's a coaching change in general, regardless of the situation, that's always something that is kind of brought back into the picture. We've done a lot of work as a team and as a staff, as far as like, what are our priorities? What's important to us? What's our motto? What are we going to stand behind? And kind of throughout COVID, that gave us a lot more time to think about these things and really kind of iron down what are these things for us. So we've come up with our pirate code, and these are things that we rely on every single day. It's not just in the world of soccer, it's academics, athletics, and society. What are these core values that are going to carry us through? And when people watch us play, when they show up and they're around our team, when there's recruits on campus, like these are the things that we want them to feel like they embody or we embody.
What is a typical soccer match to look like, obviously, when you play teams like Memphis, that's in your conference, and Houston?
So the teams in our conference that are consistently very good, our team is very excited to play. We typically get very we play to our team's level, our opponent's level. And that's a good thing when you're consistently playing teams that are in the top 25 in the country. We just played Memphis yesterday. We beat them in the last few minutes of the game, and we've never beat a ranked opponent before. So that was a huge accomplishment for our team. The excitement and the camaraderie and the way that they all pulled together to compete and then to celebrate the win is awesome.
What is that feeling like? Obviously, as you said, you beat Memphis yesterday as a ranked team. What is that feeling like, and what is that feeling like moving forward in the rest of your season?
So that game, not only did it mean a lot to us for just beating a ranked opponent for the first time ever, but that also solidified our postseason conference tournament hopes. So, that wasn't the end of our season. It was senior day as well. Anytime you have this day where you're celebrating your seniors and these players in your program that have put so much of their lives into your program, there's extra emotion. And the team truly did play for our seniors. So that was amazing. That made it feel way better. You always want to win for your seniors on their senior day. And then to top it all off, the win confirmed that we'll be in the conference tournament, and we've got another shot at continuing this season and hopefully continuing to beat ranked opponents.
What is the recruitment like for prospective student athletes looking to play college women's soccer?
So I think throughout COVID, that has kind of changed a little bit. Obviously, the NCAA has rules where, whether you can come on campus, you can contact, we can go see you play, things like that. But I think through all of that, actual video has become so much more important. There was a period of time where we were not allowed to go in person and watch, or recruits were not allowed to come on campus and visit. So that was really the only way that we could recruit, was through video. And the ability of teams to film and to send video is so much greater now because people just went through that process of having to do it. But then, video is a good start, but no one's ever going to probably make final decisions just on video alone. The process would be see teams play in person, potentially attend practices. And then when you get to a point where that student athlete can come visit campus, that's really when we want to sell what we have. Like, we want to show you, this is what we can offer you. And, it'll be seeing facilities, getting a campus tour, experiencing the academic side of things, interacting with the team and the players, just kind of really experiencing what a day in the life of a student athlete is. And at that point, we always encourage any recruit to kind of experience all of their outlets, go on visits, because we're confident in what we have here. And if this isn't the fit for you, that's okay. We want to make sure that it is. But we're going to give you our best shot.
Of course, when they get on the official visit, do they get to try on the jerseys along with obviously hanging out with the team to figure out if that's a fit with them with the team?
Yeah, again, there's certain rules that prevent things from happening to a full extent when it comes to visits, but we definitely want any recruits on campus to interact with our team. Those are players that have been in their shoes, and who better to ask questions to and to kind of figure out if this is the place for them than our players. So we really try to include them as much as we can in that process.
Of course, as you build the culture, what is some of your future plans as coach with the ECU soccer program?
I think no matter how this season ends, you never want to think about the end of a season, but like no matter how this season ends, you always want to continue to make it better. So, we're gonna hope that we finish as high as we possibly can and as best and continue this as long as we can. But there's always going to be more. There's always going to be more that we want to do, and that comes with the development in the off season of the current players that we have. That comes with the recruiting of new players, and I think at the end of the day, like never being satisfied. I think there are plenty of things to be proud of and celebrating achievements, but we never want to be complacent and satisfied with how things end.
What advice would you give prospective student athletes that are high school students looking to play college soccer?
I think the best thing that they can do is communicate. Reach out to those that you're interested in. Reach out to coaches with your schedule. Try to call them on the phone. See if you can get things set up that way. Being in an environment at the youth level, at the club level, where you have resources through your coaches, have your coaches reach out. Anything that you can to kind of initiate that contact and show your interest. And like I said, video doesn't hurt. It's a good way to start the process of communication. And just being persistent. We do get a lot of emails, and unfortunately things do get overlooked occasionally, but being persistent and doing your research, being specific about what interests you about that school, what interests you about that program. If there's something that's very specific to us, I'm definitely going to notice that. And those are things that I think will go a lot further.
What advice would you give college women's soccer players looking to play college soccer and then go on to, obviously after their 4 years, going to coaching?
Yeah, I mean, that's the path I chose. And I think I've really enjoyed it. I wouldn't change anything about it. I think, kind of going back to what I said at the very beginning is like, I'm in a position now where hopefully I can provide insight, advice, and things like that to the players I'm coaching that I was able to get as a player. And so to me, like that's extremely rewarding, and that's my why. So I think my biggest advice would be figure out your why and stay true to it, because that's what consistently reminds me of, why I enjoy doing what I do. I love the sport of soccer. I've spent a large part of my life with soccer involved, and at the end of the day, that's just my platform for helping better young women.
What advice would you give future college women's soccer coaches looking to get into the industry?
I think again, like it's a grind, and this is a male dominated profession. So staying true to your why, again, like just this is why I do what I do, and not just being strong about why I do what I do, but I think being a good listener as well, because there's a ton of really knowledgeable people in this profession, from a networking perspective, and just being able to grow and learn, whether it's tactically, soccer wise, leadership. There's a lot of people in this profession that have really good insight. So looking to connect and network with as many people as you can.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the ECU Women's Soccer Program at?
So ECU Women's Soccer, we have both Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find us at ECU Soccer on all of those. And then personally, mine is my Twitter, my Instagram are just my full name. So Emily Buccilla.
Thank you again, Coach Emily Buccilla, for your interview, and best of luck in your future as you begin the rest of ECU's women's soccer.
Thank you so much. And thanks for having me on today.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Emily Buccilla, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with ECU Women's Soccer.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.